Hey, good morning. I think it's morning now, isn't it? Is it morning? I think it is. They are all here judging me, but I know where my coochie is. I know where my coochie is at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. Where is the girls in the church? Where is their coochie? What are they doing right now? Where are they? What they up to? I think it's so funny. They will come on there judging. And they work so hard. They put so much energy into not thinking about getting married and getting their back blown out. And they come and they judge me there. It's just like, what's going on, man? Oh my gosh, I think everyone's gone to sleep. If everyone's gone to sleep, I'll just... Are you a survivor who's on here? Because if you're a survivor, I'll start getting into the topic, because it doesn't need... It could just be you and me, chill. Maybe you're the reason why. But don't feel pressure to stay. If you... Oh, Miss CHM. Miss CHM, I was just saying, even if there's one person on here, I'm going to talk my talk. I just need one person to come on. Even if there's nobody that comes on, I'm still going to just talk my talk, because it's going to get recorded later. You know what I'm saying? A while. So, hey. Girl, is this us riding it out at 1 a.m. in the morning, jail? Oh, Miss CHM, I love you. I'm so glad. You know, I always know, like, my Miss CHM gonna come on, she gonna pop up and what up. Miss CHM, how are you feeling, though? Like, you know, from the first time when you started coming on till now. Come on, stroke my ego. I want you to be a supply for me tonight. Oh, my God. Miss CHM, come on, though. Like, we've got to laugh about it. Do you know what? I'm so glad that God... Look, I'll come on quickly. I'm so glad that God gave me a sense of humour, Chair. You know, like, the way I, like, spin it and make it, like, comical. I know they hate JTE to see me coming, girl. I know it, Chair. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to see me coming or whatever. Because if it's just you and me at the moment, I don't mind Miss CHM. Do you know? It's when I've noticed this, when, of late, I don't know. I just feel like... You know, I'm going, I don't know, I don't know, like, spiritually something's changed in it, so I don't feel like I can be on all the time. That's all it is, baby. I can't explain it to you. I don't know what it is, but if I'm feeling within to do this up, it's definitely for a reason. So I don't know how long this season will last for. Anyway, I feel like you've come so far. No, I was asking about you, girl. How do you feel, my love? How do you feel, queen? And Miss CHM, don't feel the pressure to stay on, babe, because it is late and, you know, I don't want you to feel pressure. All right. I think I'm just going to go ahead and start now. So my name's Leah Lauder and I'm a mega church cult survivor. I'm going to start that again, guys, because this is for YouTube. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Leah Lauder and I'm a mega church cult survivor. I spent 18 years in what I thought was a church, and it turned out to be a cult during the pandemic. And now I come online and I expose church cult tactics to spread awareness. I'm somewhat of a social justice activist, actually. And I think I can coin the word cult expert. I have been developing a lot of methodologies and different ideological concepts and hypotheses around looking at how people get indoctrinated, how they get recruited into these cults and the after effects, and also how we deprogram and deconstruct our mind. And of recent, I've started a series of deprogramming and deconstructing the mind around various different topics. And we've gone through why the malignant narcissist requires the level of worship that he does and how that affects us as survivors. And then I've also gone into the neurological effects of the indoctrination on your brain and how that affects us as survivors. So if you haven't seen that or you're interested, you can find those 2 segments, which I'm going to post on my YouTube channel. And you can also find highlights. And my YouTube channel is either what you're watching, but you might be on Instagram or you might be on TikTok. It's Leah Lauder 777. Okay, so let's get into it. The last part of the segment, and you know, they say that the best things come in threes. So we're going to be exploring how father wounds make women vulnerable to the spiritual father lie. Now, this live is going to come with a trigger warning. I'm going to be exploring very sensitive topics around father wounds, which can resurface and trigger abandonment issues, resurface a lot of trauma. So please bear this in mind. If you're listening, if you know you're not in the emotional and mental state of mind to take on this information, then this isn't the live for you. So survivors, please do bear this in mind, okay? Especially if you're listening later on. All right. So what is a father wound? Let's break it down. Let's understand it. The reason why I want to explore this, thanks for the follow. The reason why I want to explore this is because there's a big culture. Thank you, Ice Blue, for the follow. Please do follow me on Leah Lauder 7. That's my main account. I need 8 accounts just to speak my truth so you can get all the news. So we need to understand what a father wound is, because they really do sell this spiritual father. They make girls believe like they can go into the shop and just get this spiritual daddy, and then all of your, you know, trauma and everything can just be replaced, because now you've got this shiny brand new man that you've known for a couple of months, and all of a sudden this man, you're calling him daddy. Sometimes they're like 10 years older than the young girl as well, so she's very vulnerable. She could come from a hyper-sexualized past, come with a lot of trauma, abandonment issues, etc. And they are highly susceptible and very vulnerable to join in these types of groups. Christ first in the cup. So let's explore it. What is a father wound? So it is the emotional pain caused when a dad is absent, abuse, neglectful or inconsistent. It leaves behind unmet needs, protection, affirmation, unconditional love, guidance, and safe boundaries. The brain and nervous system crave a father figure to fill that gap, even in adulthood. So that longing, it never stops. When you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know, that sense of belonging, it's rooted in that model, in that theoretical concept of every human being wanting a companion, wanting their parent, of course. And then you've got to remember that this does seep through with these abandonment issues, you know, because the first man that's supposed to protect you, love you, your father, the one that created you, has abandoned you at birth. That is a lot to conceptualize. That is a lot to process, especially from a young age. And that's why there's been a lot of work around attachment, childhood trauma, unsecure attachment, secure attachment, disorganized attachment, this, that, and the third. Back in the day, they didn't have this. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of people were not understanding the abuse that they've been through. But as the work around trauma and neuroscience has developed, we're at a stage now where there is enough scientific evidence, research-based information for us to make a conscious, well-informed decision that this typology of abuse is happening in these settings. As I said, I'm a specialist and an expert in the field with 20 years of experience working with various different communities and, you know, victims within just like the social justice realm, okay? So, and if you want to know what the connection is to the nervous system, the neuroscience behind it, and connecting those dots, I've done a video on that on my YouTube. So how do cult leaders exploit this? How do they exploit the fact that, you know, even the brain and nervous system crave a father figure? So that's why when these girls are like, I don't care, it's like, baby, go and deal with your trauma, jail. Thanks for the follow, Rachel. It's like, do up, sprinkle, sprinkle, babe. Get that shmoney, get paid, get the bag. But also level up mental health wise, chair. I'm not against the gal them going out there and making their money, but mentally, are you emotionally stable to deal with that? Because there is a trend going around, like, and yes, you can finesse a man. It's not easy. Men are easy, chair. It's not hard. So level up in the mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? Level up like psychologically first, and then focus about the outward, because how you feel on the outward is going to be a direct reflection of how you look on the outward. That's why if you're standing up there and you're trying to tell me, come to Christ, come to Christ, come to Christ, but you're overweight, I can't listen to you, not in a rude way, because you're being judgmental. You want to tell me about my life. You want to tell me I shouldn't be living with my man. You want to tell me that I shouldn't be using foul language. Because there's nothing wrong with being big. Like if I was LGBTQ+, I would go for fluffy gal them. Don't ever get it twisted. When you see them gal them at the yard dances, yeah. So I love it. But I'm saying, in response to someone who's trying to stand up there and dictate and tell me I'm a sinner, you can't even control what you're consuming, my love. Do you know what I'm saying? What about self-control, yeah? So there's a lot of delusion. There's a lot of distorted reality. Do you know what I mean? They're 14 trying to do up, pastor and telling you how to live your life. These times you're 42. Based off your experiences alone, yeah, off the science of how your brain has developed. And they really think they're coming to tell you something. Guys, you'll see a lot of live visibility-ish. You'll see a lot because they try and get me offline. My name's Leah Lord. I'm a social justice activist. I have to have 8 accounts just to speak my truth. So if you're on the FYP listening, can I ask that you come in and like the live? Because I won't be able to stay on here if there's not enough people liking up the live, unfortunately. So if what I'm saying is helping you, can you come in? Because they come in, even at this time. Look at the time, 1 a.m. They're on TikTok. That's your problem, or you should be reading your Bible, or you shouldn't be here. Thank you, Ice Blue. Ice Blue, like up the live for me, bro. Because I'll have to go in about 5 minutes if I'm not getting over 1K. Come on, Rachel, I see you, man. Like it up, you lot, man. There's not many people out here speaking like this, and this is what protects the live, okay? All right. So how do cult leaders exploit this? Exploit the fact that you haven't had a father? How do they... And guys, take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because it's exactly the same if you didn't have a mother, And that's what you need to come to terms with, because in these settings, it's so delulu. So if you're walking around delulu, I don't care. But neuroscience is telling us it's going to affect you, bro. So what now? So that means that you're delusional. That's why your backside ended up in there in the first place, yeah. Now it's time to get real. Look in the mirror and address the trauma, yeah. Because the fact that you're saying that you haven't been affected, that is giving the delusion. So you're going to be delusional in relationships. You're going to be delusional in your fit. You're going to be delusional with your life, yeah. And that's the root of it. Do you get it? Because it's like we have that emotional unavailability. It's like, oh yeah, I'll talk about anything else. But then when it comes, I'm just going to shut it down. There's no, I can talk to you about my dad. It won't be fantastic, but I can still talk about it. I don't shut it down. Do you get it? All right. Another thing I want to say as well is they open up people to ABUSE, because some people are not supposed to have relationships with their parents, whether mother, father, whatever. They're ABUSE, they're narcissists. Like my dad is literally like a narcissist, like everything. It was better off that I didn't have him in my life. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it could have done me more damage than good. And then I would have really been exposed to that yardie culture and the way I am. Whoo! Could you not have imagined me being fully embedded in Northwest, like Harlesden? Nah, chair. I was dipping in and out of Northwest. I weren't like there every day. So do you understand what I'm saying? I've done a lot of reflection around this. Again, guys, it's the glass half full, half empty analogy. I could, my dad wasn't here. Or I could be like, I don't need this man anymore. I'm 38 years old. I'm nearly going to be 40. You lot imagine. I'm not going to say too much, but just put it this way. You know how these yard men are, they're loose. So why am I finding out that I have siblings I didn't know about? Anyway, guys, I'm not going to get into it. What I will just say, it's like, I don't want to be seeing any siblings. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not interested. Minakir. Because it's like, why am I taking on that trauma? Do you know what I mean? If I've shut a certain door to protect my mental health and my well-being, you know what I'm saying? I can make a decision now. It's not, honor your mother and father, so maybe well with you did it. I've got a deeper understanding of that verse. It's not like, because they'll be telling you that you should be honoring your father, when it's like, when you speak to your father, you're literally getting palpitations. Like it's affecting your mental health, Jer. It's doing you more bad than good, but they just don't have the understanding. And I don't care how much they rebrand, repackage, try and act like they say. Historically, that's what they've been on, and you know it. Guys, you see all of these mogs and these wogs that are coming out now, they're all singing to the same hymn sheet. Why? Because they know that people are talking now. So now all of a sudden they want to talk about emotions, and they want to talk about healing, and they want to talk about self-care, and they want to talk about... Go and look at their messages from 10 years ago. Find out who their spiritual daddy is. Chair. When it comes to this, that whole world, you know the one I'm talking about, you know what, Dom, yeah? We just need to just stop engaging with it. This is going to be the new post that I put up. It should just strictly be them in their self-sealing system, because they get to dip into... Do you know how... Guys, do you know that this is psychosis, you know? This is religious psychosis, because They're saying they don't need the world. They don't need it. But how are you going to use electricity? How are you going to use water to bathe, to bath yourself? You go into the restaurants run by the worldly people, the LGBTQ plus chain owner. Like what they say and stuff, it just doesn't make any sense. They cherry pick it. It's their own reality. It's distorted. And then when you come in and you check them and you say, babe, like, you're delulu, this don't make no sense, share. Then they want to be getting defensive and calling you the DEVIR. What, for stating the obvious? For speaking a truth. This is the truth, my love. You've been in there getting indoctrinated in a self-sealing system. That's why you don't like it, baby. That's why you're getting defensive, my love. That's why you think that I'm your enemy, because of your morgue. Do you understand what it's mad? Like, when you really deep it, like, they're actually on TikTok doing this up at 1 a.m. Like, you have to sit back and think, this is my life. Like, it's deep. All right. So how cult leaders exploit this? So the false father figures, the false spiritual fathers prey on that gap by offering protection. I will cover you spiritually. That's so important. Have they put security? I would say protection and security, because one thing for me that I felt like I lacked was security of a father. That's why I started dating GMs, older man then, because it was like I needed that security. I needed that protection outside. I didn't want to feel restricted. I didn't want to be getting banged. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm saying no to someone, or, you know, I didn't have older brothers. So it's that same craving. And so, like, conversely, if it's mother wounds, you need to, are you clingy? Is it because you crave that mother's love, the nurturing? You know, you need to really explore that. You need to really unpack that, because that will make you vulnerable in so many different areas. Okay. Affirmation. You're special to me. You're chosen by God. That's shit. The love bombing, the affirmation, the validation, the father's love. They get you with that. For me, I just felt like this love is pure, it's unadulterated. You know, my pastor's like, Jesus Christ, he's not looking at me in a schmegful way. You know, it's like, it's mad. Like, when you're in there, you do really get wrapped up and caught up. I'm not gonna lie. And in the beginning stages, it's like, you know, when you meet someone new for the first time, you're just all in love and you can't see no fault in them. You know, like all of these galdom that are running around recording it, giving out roses, doing like evangelism, like the OGs, we're just sitting there watching, like, ciao. You got a long way to go. You got a long way to go, sweetie. Ciao. The things that come along with this really, and then, you know what happens? People come with that light, that brightness, that twinkle, that glow in their eye. Give it a couple years, they've just turned into rock stone. Now they're this like polished, like scripted, you know, they've been infiltrated by, it's like they've got that spirit, like they've been possessed, they've been taken over by the mega, you know what world, the prosperity teaching spirit chair. And then they're validated by the accolades and how far they've come in there. It's sad, man. You think, oh my gosh, before I was, you know, like a bottle girl and I was doing this and I was in the club scene and you don't realize that in this setting you're still pimping yourself out spiritually, yeah. It's actually worse, because you had a humble heart then. You might have been like, you know, not fully dressed or whatever, but you had a humble heart. Your heart was like, you know, but people don't look at things like that, because God's ways are not our ways. His ways are higher. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the way God thinks, like, even when you look at the people that he's used, you look at Rahab, who hid the spies, you know, like, God always used the most inconspicuous people. But what they do is they mystically manipulate it and be like, oh, look, you're changed. You're like Rahab. But what was Rahab's story, though? What was her end? Do we even know? You see how they take it and manipulate it? It doesn't talk about her changing and this. Does it actually? Do you lot know? Because I need to, not taking any requests, unfortunately. Jonathan, what do you have to say? Can you put it in the chat? What do you have to say? Jonathan, can you put it in the chat, please? Because I don't have time for trolls and all that tonight. It's 1:21 a.m. in the morning. I love you so much, you know. Oh, thank you. Why is that? Who's that? Oh, is that Glanvo? Oh, it's Glan. Is that Glanvo? All right. So then there's also the guidance part of it. I know God's will for your life. So it's like, it's been life mapped. It's been set out there. This prophet, you know, They're going to guide you, especially if you've had a dysfunctional upbringing, you haven't had a dad, you haven't had that guidance, you will crave it. And, you know, the Mogs will provide that for you. Hey, bro, you're all right, King. I thought it was you because, you know, sometimes they come on trying to act like they know me. It's like, you don't know me from Anawara. I'm exclusive, baby. You don't know me from Anawara. You don't know me from Anawara. Do you know what I'm saying? I know it has to be a survivor. You're all right. I'm exclusive. This is premium coochie, babe. Like, I know who I've been with. You know them ones. I know who I know outside in these streets. Yeah. That's all you need to know. 18 years in the mega church culture. 18 years. Married for almost 10 years. Nobody's got nothing to say about me in these streets. Leah, I low-key love you so much. I've been showing my friends all your content. Oh, thanks. The next podcast, you're gonna roll up in it. So that'll be good. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it, bro. Help us protect the space, yeah, and like the live. You lot like it up. I know it's late, but come on, you lot. We're in it together. Come on, yeah. Is that Laura? Laura, what are you doing up? What time do you call this? Yeah, I'll be there in the flesh. I'm down for that. Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's great. Laura, I'm so surprised to see you, eh? You're here. Wow. All right. The next one is discipline. I correct you because I love you. This is huge. If you come from quite a liberal family, maybe a single parent home, because you have to understand trauma comes out in different ways. Your mum could have come from a 2.0 family, but her parents could have been really strict, like to the point of ABUSE. So she's like, you know what? I want my daughter to have freedom. I want her to have her free will. So she parents you in a different way. But when you come into the cult, there's black and white thinking. There's no exploration. There's no critical thinking. It's just like, it's because you haven't been disciplined. That's why you were out like that. You were in the club. But now, since you've been coming, it was discipline. The Lord chasteneth those whom he loves. You have to be disciplined in life to get... And then they start to take you into their principles and their false doctrine and the manipulation of the verses and then the meetings and then the echo chamber of everybody having the same voice. They've all been cloned. So whenever you need help, guidance, seeking counsel, whatever, it's always the same people, the same advice, the same thing that they're saying over and over again. So you're in an echo chamber. There's no free fall. When we look at the Stephen Hassan influence continuum, we see the leadership at the negative and positive end. And we know that part of that organizational negative influence is about cloning people. It's about authoritarianism. It's about the lack of individuality. On the positive side of that, if someone was in a positive, healthy environment, there would be autonomy, there would be creativity. That's why if you're in one of these spaces and it's the same blueprint, dances, stars, theatre, choir, where's the creativity? Are people able to voice their opinions here? Is there autonomy? Because if you're seeing the same thing over and over, does that mean that you're putting us in a box then? So if I can't sing and I can't dance and I can't act, what do I do? And I don't take pictures and I don't like lighting. I don't want to preach. Don't you see that they're packaging Christ? Like that's what they've done. They've put it in like a Happy Meal. They're like McDonald's. They're just franchises. They're all, some are KFC, some, and then you get the backdoor ones like Morley, you know, like the NGRM. I think SPAC at this point, you know what they're giving? You know what SPAC's giving? SPAC's not giving Morley. SPAC's giving, you know, them aunties and uncles in the African community, they sell their food from their house, do you know? But usually that food's banging though, don't ever get it twisted. But it's just, you know, like it's just like a yard shop. Like they're just, there's no, they ain't got no food and hygiene, do you know what I'm saying? They're just selling food from the back of their yard, all right? So at first this feels like healing, but it's actually GROOMN. Yeah. So, and that's really interesting, actually. I think I need to do on a live on healing versus GROOMN, because I think that would be really good. That is just a revelation that I've come to. How interesting is that? All right. I'm going to go to the comments, YouTube and Instagram. Leah, I was with my friend and we were talking about how intelligent you are by seeing things. Oh, thanks, babe. That's so nice. I really appreciate that, bro. Do you know what? It's a mixture of life experience, you know, education. To be honest, I thought I'd wasted my life. I was just like, what is this going to do? You know, the youth and community work at this. So why am I doing this? But it's all making sense now. And I'm just so glad that, you know, God is turning around my bad for my good. I'm so glad that God is restoring the years that the cankerworm, has eaten, and I'm just so glad. I'm so grateful and humbled for the support as well. I'm really, really grateful, even at this time, to have people on who are engaging, who are part of the collective. It means so much to me, because I could be on here talking to myself, but I'd still do it. Menakir, have you seen the mogs that are online? They'll have no one on their live, but they're going in like there's thousands of people on the live. Yeah. So, I don't care. I don't care, because they need to check that. They need to check their own mogs, jail, because that is giving delusion. You can't call me delulu, jail. All right. I digress. So what else do they do up then when they're doing up this spiritual father thing? What tactics do they use? Trauma bonding and codependency. Now, you have to remember that people without dads, without absent parent, whatever, they're gonna crave for that bond. But you can never have that bond like you would with your birth mother. It's going to be different. But do you see that there's also that truth that comes into it, and that healing and that acceptance as well? But if you're in that delusional state and they're indoctrinating you with this one world view, which is the cult leaders, of course you're going to form trauma bond relationships. They're going to be masking it like, oh, you've got this new family in the Lord and friends that care about you, because evil communication corrupts good character. The people there, they were bad influences. They would take you out raving there, but they had your back though. These are people that you've known since primary school, but you lock them off for people that you've known for 3 months, 6 months. You don't know their father, you don't know their mother, you don't know where they're from. So the common sense goes out the window. This is where the delusion and the distorted reality come into it. People are making decisions they would have never made with their sound mind. Like, people are selling their homes, giving the money to the cult. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're radical. People are in, like, they're in, like, they come into these spaces after highly traumatic situations, or actively going through very traumatic situations. That's why when you hear the testimonies, aka the promos, oh my gosh, the stories that you hear, but no one ever stops to think, oh my gosh, why has everyone got this sob story? But that's the common link. Everybody ends up in these environments when they're rock bottom, like in the gutter. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like when they're going through the toughest trial, or such a life-altering traumatic experience, that the only option for them is they're either like, I can't do this anymore, that's it. Or it's the vibe where I'm going to end up just getting sectioned at this point. So that there's like a crossroads. So people either end up, in these religious environments, and a lot of the time they end up in the religious environments. All right. So the trauma bonding and the codependency, the leader love bombs. So attention, praises, uses language like daughter. They have that phrase in my cult. They call us spiritual daughter and sons of the house. So, it's the labeling, it's the attention, it's the love bombing, it's the praise that we never got from our father, which we crave. So we become addicted to that, and it forms a codependent relationship in which we are seeking validation of the cult leader like a father. All right. The cycle of reward and punishment creates a trauma bond. So there's that positive and negative reinforcement, the push and pull, not knowing where you stand with them, etc. You become addicted to the chasing, to seek his approval, to ease the pain of the rejection. And you'll see that and that's why they turn you into pick-me's, because it's all about the man in there. It's very misogynistic and patriarchal. So the women are pick-me's, and Barbara the Builders, they'll do anything to get some D. Like, they'll step on necks, they'll do anything to get a man in there, because that's how they're conditioned. Because you already long for a father's acceptance, your nervous system makes this unhealthy bond for love, care, or safety. This forms codependency. You lose your sense of self. Your worth depends on his opinion. So when we go back to the rewiring of the brain, okay, and the fact that, your, is it the amygdala, that part where you can't sense danger ahead, this, that, and the third. So you start to see love. You start to see ABUSE as love, because you can't comprehend, you don't have the self-awareness, you can't see the danger ahead, that this is a narcissist, this is somebody, who's, indoctrinating you and forming this code, because all of your senses have gone down. It's like they've taken over your mind, they've infiltrated your mind. Yeah. So this forms codependency. You lose your sense of self. Your worth depends on his opinion. So, again, it's like no one else's opinion matters. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. You're seeking. So do you see how you're now seeking validation of man, not God? Because you're running out of that. You're not thinking about how does God see the situation. It's, did the pastor like it? Was he happy with my ministration? Was he, was God? Were you? Then we've got attachment styles at play. So anxious attachment. So remember I said to you, you could come in there with a secure attachment, 2.0 family, this, that, and the third. But once you come into these environments, these are malignant narcissists. So what happens is there's like a spiritual transference, and you then internalize the anxious attachment, because they use that you've got to become born again, you've got to become like a baby, you've got to desire the sincere word, the sincere milk of the word. So it's like you internalize becoming a baby spiritually. So this, and my cult leader has even compared himself to a mother, like, like a suckling, like a baby needing that source of nutrition from a mother. And that's how God's been described in the book. And then he also, has compared himself to that, like say, like they are the ones that feed us, that nurture us in the word, that raise us up. It's that ideology. And then that comes from the spiritual father thing, the covering, touch not the Lord's anointed. So they're making themselves a lot higher than what they are. That's the grandiose ideologies that they have of self, because we're all the same in God's sight, but they elevate themselves. Doesn't that sound familiar? Elevating yourself to the position of God, saying, I will arise. That's what they've done. It's the spirit of what. It's not the spirit of God, guys. Stay woke. Clack it. So the avoidant attachment suppresses your true feelings. No, let me start again. Anxious attachment, constant fear of being abandoned or discarded, leading you to cling harder to the leader, seeking his validation, going above and beyond, just unaliving yourself to please them. And it's never good enough. Remember that. Also, let's add an extra layer to this. If you've got a disorganized or anxious attachment prior to coming into the cult, this is going to exasperate the fears of abandonment, and that will always be surfacing. So you'll see, like, I used to really cry when my pastor's wife didn't answer the phone, or if she was upset with me, giving me silent treatment. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. It would exasperate those fears of abandonment. But obviously I didn't know that because I hadn't put in the healing work. But that's why you'll see them like that. They won't be able to have a good time. They won't have joy if their mog isn't happy with them, because then what that has a direct adverse effect on their position, what they're doing in the cult, their exclusivity, the elitism. When you're rolling with the pastor's wife, you get to go into certain meetings, corridors, etc. So they use that power play to say, oh, okay, I'm not happy with you. So do you see the positive and negative reinforcement? I'm not happy with you, so you can't be in the office now. And it's only selected people that can be in the office. She's not talking to you, so now everyone's looking at you like, what have you done? It's like it's a very toxic, unhealthy environment. And then everyone starts acting funny with you in the cult. And then people are like excluding you. It's mad in there, jail. It's like, it's BULLY. Then we've got the avoidant attachment, suppressing your true feelings, playing strong, but secretly hoping he notices and affirms you. So again, it's just this fake pseudo personality that you have to put on in it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, when they're rebuking you, peppering you, you have to receive it. You can't show no emotion. You've got to be loyal. We're testing your loyalty. God chasteneth those whom he loves. So that's what we're doing. You're very insightful. I could listen to you all day. Oh, thanks, babe. I appreciate that. Disorganized attachment. The father figure is both comfort and danger. Exactly how cult leaders trap you with fear and love. So again, it's that push and pull. You become addicted to that type of dynamic of relationship when you don't have a father figure. How it warps your view of God. The leader equates his authority with God, so disobeying him feels like disobeying God. The spiritual father becomes the filter between you and God, keeping you dependent. Okay, the father wound deepens. God starts to look like another demanding, controlling dad instead of a loving source. Okay, so it can warp people's sense of, how they view God, their perceptions of, an all-loving, merciful God. That's why for me personally, it's like, yeah, I was doing things that I'm not proud of and hanging around with people I shouldn't have been, but I had a good relationship with God. I saw God like a merciful God. I was kind. I was good to people, and it's like, because remember, it's invisible, so they clean you up, and it's like, oh, this is the external validation. You used to wear tracksuits, you used to be shot, and you used to look at you now, you're wearing a suit and you're holding a you know what. But it's like, what about your heart though? What about your intentions, chair? All right, guys, I'm feeling tired. Let me see if I can fly through this. There's a lot, chair, but I'm gonna get through it. I'm determined. All right. Okay, so we've done up that one. How can women free themselves? So this isn't just women. How can you free yourself if you've experienced this? So this is the first. Okay, I'm going to start again, guys, because this is for YouTube chat. All right, so having said all of this, how can you free yourself? Recognize the false father mask. This mog, this prophet, whatever, he is not your father. He never was. He was exploiting your need for one. Real fathers protect and nurture. False fathers control and consume. So understanding the difference between the two and really starting to go into unpacking your childhood trauma, doing this alongside therapy, journaling, grounding yourself, whatever it is that you need to do. And that leads me on to the next point, healing the inner child. You need to heal that little boy or girl that's inside you that's longing for daddy. Because that inner child needs you. Not a cult leader, not a dictator, not someone to tell you what to do. You don't need someone to control your life. You need to learn to be dependent on self now. Rebuild secure attachment elsewhere. So find safe, nurturing relationships, friends, mentors, or communities that don't demand worship or blind loyalty. So, these are healthy environments. When we look at the influence continuum, that will look like autonomy, that will look like creativity, It will be the opposite end of what you experience with a high control group. Healthy connections teach your nervous system that love doesn't require losing yourself, and love is not transactional. Love doesn't abuse, etc. It starts to get all of those little, functions of the brain. It starts to get them going again. And so you start to use them because you need to use them by forming, new relationships, new social experiences, new cultural experiences, etc. And then we've got break trauma bonds step by step. So so when you come out, remember I said that physically you leave, but psychologically you don't. So you're going to have cravings, for approval and wanting to go back to the cult, because remember, it's like a drug, like you're craving it. It's like you're a recovering addict. That's literally what it is. So a lot of people that leave, they will go back. There's even a survivor that comes on the live sometimes, but keeps going back because she's got such low self-esteem. She's been so abused. It's all she knows. Yeah. That's trauma bonding. That's not true love. That's not a true connection. That's not a true community. Everything is false and manufactured. So reduce exposure to the teaching, social media, and people who idolize him. And I would say the religion as well. I think that you need to focus more on spirituality, being with self, getting to know yourself, loving yourself. Replace the highs and lows with steady, safe rhythms, journaling, breath work, creative practices, supportive friendships, grounding, picking up a hobby, a new interest. Fill that void, fill that gap. Okay, there's a survivor that says, if my identity had been built on a born-again Christian from my ex-cult, how do I change? Oh, that's a good question. So that's going to be about self-discovery. So what I think would be good to explore, again, you do need to go within, but remember your identity was all framed around that. So let's break that down. What does that look like? That looks like attending these spaces, not being a non-church goer. It looks like outreach. It looks like evangelism. It looks like all these things. So remember, you didn't have any hobbies, babe. So that was your social life. That was everything you're doing. So you've got to start to form these healthy relationships, these healthy communities, and these healthy hobbies outside of that. What do you like to do? What are your passions? Do you see what I mean? Like, what can you do for self? Because it's always been about other people. Trust me on this, yeah? Once you start loving yourself, pouring into yourself, you will automatically that will all flow out. Because before I was so angry. And also sometimes we need to be put on meds as well. Sometimes you need medical intervention, because that has helped me as well. But is that making sense? Because that's been your whole identity. So you need to start to form a new identity. And that starts with dealing with childhood trauma, all the things I'm talking about, unpacking it, you know, taking yourself out on dates, finding out what it is that you like. But it's all a process. How you get there, I don't have the answers. That's a journey that you have to go down, because everybody's path and everyone's journey will look different. But you start with the deconstruction and the deprogramming, definitely, because you need to understand that that's a social construct that's created by man. That's religion. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't need a title or to be connected to a certain group or whatever for validation. If you still believe in God, it should be, your identity should be, I'm a child of God. I had to strip it all back. I'm not a wife. I'm not a mother. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. I don't like titles. I actually hate HATE titles because it's really title, position, pyramid, top management heavy in there, yeah. So I just want to be Leah. For the first time in my life, I just want to be Leah. I'm a survivor. I'm a child of God. And that's enough. That's enough for me. But it's about getting there, because they've made everything superficial, about titles, about being seen, about celeb worship, about... So all of that needs to be stripped away. There needs to be an ego unalivement, babe. Look up ego unalivement. That needs to happen, because even the things that they've told us is ego and humility, and it's all warped, it's all wrong. So going on that self-discovery journey of healing is really what I would advise. How does that resonate? All right. So we need to break... Oh, I've said that. All right. So redefine God beyond the cult lens. Oh my gosh, this is adding into what I've just said. So look, this is answering your question. Explore spirituality that affirms your worth and autonomy. So do things that make you happy. Do things that make you feel free. You know, like there's a survivor, like the cult was really against traveling. Every other month I'm seeing this survivor jetting off. That's the kind of stuff you need to do. If you've got the means to do it, like live your life, yeah. Remind yourself, God doesn't need a middleman to love you. Healing means separating the manipulator's voice from the voice of love, truth and freedom. So what does that voice of love, truth and freedom mean to you? If you're an atheist, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I love y'all all the same. And we're coming to the end. So if you've got any questions, let me know, y'all. I'm going to start finishing off. And this is just a part that ChatGPT has given me as a nice little ending for survivors to meditate on, to think about, and just to give us a little bit of peace and consolidation as we're finishing this up. For survivors with father wounds, you were never weak or silly for falling for the false father doctrine. You were traumatized, longing a human. What they called spiritual fathering was emotional exploitation. Your healing is about reparenting yourself, reclaiming your voice, and learning that love doesn't punish you for existing, taking your power back. You are worthy of love without condition, without control, without fear, without rules, without consequences. A false father feeds on your wound. A true father heals, protects, and empowers. And the deepest truth is, you can become the safe parent your younger self has always needed. And on that note, guys, I think we're going to close. I think it's been a lovely live. They've tried to get me off tonight, but I've survived. Yeah. Moved 3 accounts. You didn't get me off tonight, unfortunately. Love y'all. Glanville, you can message me on Instagram if you have any further questions or anything. I'm going to go now. Love y'all.